Hello, dear friends. I hope you are well. This is Luce Fleury Levi, founder of Universal Grace Film Feminine Foundation, and I carry on my series Healing Under the Wings of Infinite Love. This is part 3. I feel led today to share about healing of the feminine divine, of nature, of Mother Nature, and speaking about a bit about marriage, because I feel to pray for marriages, soulmates, romantic true soulmates, and we will also pray, for all of you who are married or are wishing to get married, as well as I will speak a bit about Prince Harry and his lovely wife Meghan, because I often pray for them, and I feel very sad about what's happening in the media. Okay, so I want to start because we are at the moment, it seems to me, at a turning point for humanity. Okay, there is a kind of shift that we are in a sense pushed to consider, to take a turning point, because we have been too long allowing the darkness, and we have been too long being passive in allowing a tyrannical side, of the patriarchal domination, oppression on the world, to dictate our lives. And we need now to allow the feminine divine, the feminine collective to heal, because there is much, and there has been, and there still is, much abuse hurting the feminine in general, okay, the collective feminine of women born females. And that is the direct implication and consequence of suppressing the feminine divine. As long as we allow some false teaching that God is only male, and we are not claiming that obviously the essence of infinite love is a balance, harmony between the feminine and masculine principle in a dignified, equal way. We are going to be continually going back under Pater's Familias law, and how everything has been manipulated, codified in this wrong direction by the Roman Empire. So we need to look at ourselves, because Mother Nature is telling us, it has been speaking to us for a long time, to how Mother Nature has been affected by the pollution. We have been polluting our planet, and we have been destroying all the beauty of Mother Nature because of more greed, technology, profit. Some are accusing useless eaters, whilst in fact, if you can hear, there are a lot of messages from Africans at the moment, and I saw and I tweeted the one of an African lady who are actually waking up and realizing how much we, the ones in our Western society who have the money, who are a minority and are, holding on to the majority of the resources, are destroying Mother Nature and Africa, because they are connected. And it is not the work of mass population, because a lot of the time the defect and the fault of mass population is lethargy, is precisely allowing to be used as robots, to be brainwashed as robots by a false, a fake media, okay? So we are compelled through this crisis, because it's a very grave crisis. We are going through a very grave crisis. People are dying, as we know. People are getting ill by this false lab virus. We already explained through many videos and research how this is only a kind of drill, for some who have the money and the power to try to apply the goals for humanity, which is to suppress many of us and to kill, exterminate almost half of the world population because of their eugenic agenda, and also to render slaves the rest through transhumanism. We already spoke I already myself, as well as others, I've been tweeting, but you can go and watch my videos about microchips, okay? So we need to basically pray for the awakening of the populations of the West, as the other populations were suffering from wars we impose upon them to control not us but our governments. I never did that, because I've always done, since I was young, spiritual humanitarian work for free, okay, in an anonymous way, like many of my friends. But I say we because of compassion, and I choose the third way, which is that as a human being, I'm not seeing myself better, or I'm not taking people from on high, but we are all together in that. So what I was explaining is that we have allowed precisely some evil agenda to destroy nature more and more. And our mother nature, and Africa as well, because I was saying, our mother nature and Africa are very much linked. And by pillaging, sucking natural resources for greedy profit, nobody is actually seeing the result of this profit, not even the populations in the West. It goes directly in the hands of the small minority who is amassing all the goodies for themselves and their families. But it's not going at all into the highest good investments, to improve even the life of Western people, because the standards are getting lower and lower in health, in everything. Money is not invested in the right direction. So we really need now, we are at a turning point, a kind of deep warning. And that's why we need to, my dear friends, to unite in a positive intent together, to allow light and love, infinite love in. It does not matter whether we are atheist, spiritual, or religious. We need to unite, because when we lift up, the light is going to obliterate the darkness. We expose the darkness, but we also lift up the light and love. We encourage positive measures to be taken to repair the damage created in nature and Africa. we encourage our brothers and sisters in Africa who are trying now to wake up and react and say the truth, like this lady. She was not talking in a hateful way in the video. I did tweet her video recently. She is not talking in a hateful way. She's just saying the truth to help us, because we've been ourselves manipulated and brainwashed. I said many times on Twitter about the Syrian war and all these other wars, not in my name. No wars are in my name, and I beg you to join me in that, because we need to confront minorities who are starting expensive wars in our names, to destroy other populations instead of helping them. I always support charities like WaterAid, etc., because they're building up countries, helping with running clean water. Okay, that's what we want. We want to build up other people so they are happy in their own countries, not to destroy their infrastructure, to colonize their petrol or natural resources, and send them lab viruses, to destroy their population, and after pretend to invite them as refugees, to use them as slaves, basically. That is so sad. So all this human trafficking, all this new form of slavery and abuse has to stop, because Divine Mother, as we have a Divine Father, Divine Mother to speak, in human terms, but the essence of infinite love, as I already said, is the balance, the harmony between the masculine and feminine principle, okay? So the essence of infinite love through the feminine divine principle, which has been repressed and crushed, is now coming back to us to help us to realize what happened, and help us to allow now, not only allow, but choose the feminine divine, nurturing, caring, for Mother Nature, for each other, like a mother takes care of her children and her wings. So we need to allow this deep healing and nurturing to occur in our world, to balance, to mend it from the inflated male ego, which went out of balance precisely by rebuking the feminine, divine, and ended up into, tyranny, and wars and greed and addictions. So we need now to temperate that, to put in action new key solutions. That's what I chose. That's why I chose very young. From very young to do humanitarian and spiritual, because to me, spiritual and humanitarian are always linked. When we pray, when we receive infinite love, we need and we want to add an action to it, a positive action to bless the world around us. So I just feel that to this video, I want to add some thoughts about marriage, which is a deep, infinite love union and partnership, and is sacred. Because everything in the divine is about marriage. If you hear some of the teachings of Swedenborg, I often tweet about, the balance precisely between wisdom and love, etc. It's all about harmony and balance. We can't love on our own. We can only love each other. And we love infinite love. Infinite love is like the sun, where with the rays of the sun penetrating us deeply to give us life, to give us warmth, to give us everything we need. And we need to share that love with somebody else, with many other friends. But I believe, like Swedenborg and Rita Rogers, etc., they are different people who are completely different. So that's why I quote two different people. One is a theologian of the 17th century. The other is a contemporary medium, very well known. I just want to say they see and I see like them. To me, we only have one romantic soulmate. And fortunately, people who have chosen self-will and to feed their addictions, their lust, like the ones who chose to feed their greed, are amassing, mainly males, senior males, uh, you know, partners, female partners like toys. And obviously, we're not going to go into pedophile behavior because, unfortunately, I just mentioned that because it has completely damaged men who are not even pedophile with a false idea that they can only find love and happiness with very, very young girls or models. Actually, it never happens, and they keep on divorcing or going from a relationship to another, proving that it's not the key of love. So haters have chosen very often to go this direction, which is destructive to themselves. They go into addiction and they hate marriage. So we have a lot of hostility in the media against true love, okay? I believe, as I said, some deep spiritual friends, that there is only one romantic soulmate for each one of us. Obviously, we all make mistakes, and it is not about punishing ourselves or others or condemning each other. We can make mistakes; it happens, and but we must carry on looking for that person. Sometimes we went in the wrong relationship, not to feed an addiction, because we truly were sincerely looking for a true romantic soulmate, but we made a mistake. It was not the right person for us. So we need to carry on looking and forgive ourselves. And what matters is our intention of looking for this only one true romantic soulmate. Sometimes we need more preparation, and people like Rita Rogers say, and Swedenborg as well. That's quite not strange, but it's part of these little things, which proves there are no coincidence that Swedenborg and Rita Rogers, who have nothing, were completely different, are having similar conclusions. That sometimes we are not going to meet our only true soulmate, romantic soulmate, during this lifetime on Earth. Sometimes we're going to meet them when we cross over in the spiritual realm, when we leave our biological body. And sometimes we can also meet that person very late in life. And that's why some make mistakes, because we need time to prepare ourselves and to grow spiritually. Sometimes we can meet our only true romantic soulmate too soon, and we can mess up everything. Obviously, we will still find them later, but sometimes it leads to separation because we are not prepared and we hurt each other, we don't mean it, but it's because we are not the best version of ourselves yet, okay? So we need to understand that what matters is the genuine intention to deeply be one and love each other, nurture, encourage each other, be one new little person, and not to be using, others like objects to feed an addiction, as I already explained, or to be simply, going from one person to another, using people like broken toys, basically. So, as I said, I want to pray for marriages to be blessed, but I want also to say a few words in this video about attitude of family and parents around their children when they get married. Unfortunately, there is still a very false belief in our 3D materialistic world that children are the possession of biological parents. There is nothing which is less true than that, because it's totally false and unfair. In the spiritual world, each one of us is a unique, precious individual who, once becoming an adult, has not only the right but the duty to choose from their own free will what is their dream, what is their life purpose, to contribute to the highest good without duress, without force, fear, trauma. Too often, families are traumatizing their children to keep them under their thumb through brute force and to use them as they please, completely denying they are born equal and free, and use them like slaves, basically, and robots. And when some people become adults, they rightly want their space and make their own choice, but they get the condemnation and the blame of some members of our society who are working for this type of evil cabal and trying to oppress all of us, including their own children, okay? So I would like to also say that the way some of these conservative, patriarchal oppressors see marriage is that the woman is a property of the man, okay? And she is a type of slave, who has to be submissive to whatever he says, and even not only him, but his family as well. She's a servant. So there is a lot of hypocrisy in the West, because on one hand, some pretend to denounce in the media forced marriages, arranged marriages in the other countries like India, Africa, etc. And they pretend, we boast, they boast in the media that, oh yeah, we can marry for love, we can marry what we want. But in reality, it's not at all true. And it's not only, because I'm going to speak about Prince Harry, it's not only for aristocrats or people who belong to a certain clique. It's also among commoners, because we all are connected. And when we see an example, a reference, we all take it as a reference, and it's very often a very false reference, which is hurting all of us, which is adding more karmic negative consequence on us, on our souls, okay? And we all suffer from all that. We need to get rid of that. We need to get cleansed of all that, because it's negative and it's hurting our world. This is what we are carrying like a heavy burden, and that's why our world is getting destroyed by all this dirt, if you want. We need to allow a big spring cleansing, okay? This is part, at the moment, it's a good time to say that, of the seasons in nature. So, concerning the situation with Prince Harry and his lovely wife Meghan, I am not related to them. I don't know them personally, okay? So whatever I say, it's only from what I receive in my spirit, okay? It's not from them. I just say it freely according to what I receive when I pray for them. I always love and respect Princess Diana, the mother of Harry, and I feel in my heart that the intention of Harry has always been, and please forgive me if I'm wrong, because I say what I receive spiritually. I can mistake, okay? I'm not, I'm just an instrument, and I must remain humble that I can always mistake. So I'm just, as I say what I receive. So I feel that the deepest intention of Prince Harry has always been to walk in the footsteps of his beloved mother, Princess Diana. He's very attached to and admires. And that's why he also I believe that his dream has always been to modernize monarchy and to open a new door, to open a new way for his involvement as a prince in our world. He has another vision of monarchy like his mother had, okay? And he has chosen, because of that, a wife who could help him in this direction. And they are together, obviously, perfectly well for each other, because they want to go in the same direction, because Meghan is very courageous and she is very innovative. She loves nature, she loves Africa, she is very dynamic, and she is a modern lady. They both want to walk according to the new man and the new woman in a dignified, beautiful harmony and balance between the spiritual, masculine and feminine spiritual principles. So this is wonderful, and any person who has any sense would, encourage them and be happy for them that they are leading in our world towards oneness and beauty for nature, etc., and harmony between the masculine and the feminine. At the contrary, we have all misogynous and racist comments falling like a ton of brick from brute male tyrannical, infiltrated ego, brute force, who are praising criminals, sexual addicts, pedophiles, and falling like a ton of brick on one woman because she married Harry, putting all the blame on her. That is, it talks for itself. I don't think I need to make more comments, because I think these people are actually the worst advocate for their own group of their. They just, by their behavior, we understand exactly who they are and what they are standing for. So we can thank them, and also have compassion for them, because this is the old school teaching to bully women and put them underfoot, okay? But, women are not meant to be underfoot or behind their husband. They are meant to go side by side, always looking at each other in the eyes with love, to keep the romance going, okay? And hand in hand. And this is what haters of infinite love don't like, because what they find normal is what I said, to be a pedophile, to be a sex addict, etc. So I'm not going to carry on this. I think that we all know that social mobility is so important, because the spiritual realm, everything in spirituality and in Mother Nature, is telling us that we need to move on and change and grow spiritually continually. And if we don't, we are going to die and perish. So we need to move on, as I spoke at the beginning of this video. We need a big shift now, to accept freely and with love and gratefulness, to move on towards oneness, infinite love, and restoring, nurturing the feminine divine nature. Social mobility is part of it. Social mobility is like somebody from a stuck-up, background, for instance, an aristocrat background where one has been traumatized, and forced to, by obligations and duties which are not part of their own choice, need to be free, to break free from that, if their soul, if it is important for them as a person, without being condemned, or without being punished, or without any retaliation. The same thing that somebody from another, more common or popular background should be allowed to go up, to rise up in the social ladder, okay? These things are from the old world, these old stiff, and these things need to go. It's preventing the spiritual harmony and beauty of life. It should not even exist. So what matters is the inner spiritual value of each individual, and if they suit each other when it is about marriage, So I think that, of course, Prince Harry and his beautiful wife Meghan are still young biologically. So yeah, we all make mistakes. Maybe they make mistakes, but allow them, their space. And I pray personally that one door, a special door now for their need, to be able to find their nest, to be able to blossom and put in action their beautiful visions and plan, will be open to them, that nobody can shut, okay? Because nobody, some people think they ought to interfere in a negative way, by condemnation and blame or shutting doors for them. But no, we need to act in a positive way. We need to be people bringing love and positive insight to others, not trying to always punish them, blame them. So, my friends, let us pray for Meghan and Harry. They were born in a different background maybe than some of us. It's not a reason for being jealous, envious. They had their own suffering. They suffered their own, humiliations. They have their own obstacles. Let us focus on ourselves, to grow, in our own condition, and focus in being positive and succeed our own vision in our own life, and also help them encourage each other. I want to pray for each one of you, and I wish for each one of you to find your unique, only one romantic soulmate. And if you are in a season where you need to prepare It is hard sometimes to be on your own, but know that deep inside you are spiritually already united, already one with your only romantic soulmate. But now you are making an investment, even if it's painful to you, by growing spiritually, so you will be ready to enjoy an eternal bliss, an eternal romantic bliss with your only one and unique romantic soulmate, avoiding to make mistakes, because mistakes, whether you mistake by choosing the wrong partner or whether you found the right partner but you were not ready for it, are painful. And physical separation is always very, very painful. We can see that when one loved ones, leaves their biological body to go in a better spiritual dimension. Yes, we are still one, but physically we've been separated, and it's terribly, terribly painful. So we want to avoid to have this pain later on. So that's why sometimes we are not given to meet soon enough our only one romantic soulmate, and we need to keep on growing before, and healing also, before we meet that person, because a lot of the problems in relationships come because we've got open wounds and luggage from our past, and it is very, very difficult to have a very, beautiful, fulfilling relationship when we have so many wounds and luggage. So, whatever you do today, even if it seems very painful, to heal yourself, to take care of yourself, to nurture yourself, and to grow spiritually, will be a great help for you to, if you want, be given to meet your only romantic partner sooner. Okay, so my friends, as usual, I'm sending you lots of love, and let us keep united in positive intention for our planet, because we want to be free and responsible to start this shift ourselves. We don't want to wait until it falls on us in a negative way and in a destructive way. That is a warning by this, fake pandemic. And unfortunately, we don't want this to come back. We want these terrible, evil plans to fail, okay? Evil plan against humanity to fail. And we want infinite love to take over. So let's keep united in intention, in action towards that. Much love to all of you. And thank you for those who think of me, think of encouraging me. It's very much appreciated. And I send you lots of love.